What's up? Necronics here, coming back at you with another Epic 7 video. Today we're going to be doing going a little bit more casual. It's not going to be any battling today, but today is more of a build guide video. Today I'm going to be going over how I build my units, why I build my units this way, and just trying to help people understand why certain units are built the way that they are built. The first thing that goes into building a unit is what they do for your team. So say for instance, Lilius here. So what does Lilius do for your team? Okay, she she cleanses your entire team, and she pushes herself up and pushes them back. So you either want her to be, well, obviously you want her to be tanky, but you either are going to be she's either going to be very fast so that she can get the cleanse off quicker and then decrease their combat readiness. But if you do go speed, then you might have to go less HP, which makes her less tanky. So you can either go speed, or you can go in the middle, where she's decently tanky and she's decently fast. She's not like super slow. And of course, effectiveness and well, for her, effect resistance and effectiveness are both decent, just because of her skill 2 that has the ability to provoke, and then her skill 3, having the chance to decrease their combat readiness. So you want her. I mean, I put a little bit too much effectiveness on her, so but I'm okay. My stats are okay. They can deal. They can. They're flexible like that. So of course you want Lilies to be like tanky, but like fast as well. When it comes to Molagor for her, I just went all for skill 1 just because skill 1 is really good. She does a lot of damage when it's fully leveled up, and she can tag team with somebody else, meaning that extra damage and extra chance to kill like other tanks or units like Soul Weavers and stuff like that. When it comes to let's see, units like, okay, let's see Luna. So with Luna, she doesn't really need to be fast, but she does need to hit hard, because if you're using Luna on arena offense or guild war offense, usually what happens, if she is not debuffed by time she goes, she's one-shotting whoever she hits. She has an attack buff on, and she's using her skill 3 to bypass advantage, the elemental disadvantage. So whatever whenever she hits, she wants to kill it first turn. So I usually just try to make her decently tanky, but like hit like a truck, so that like she can tank a few hits, 14k, she can tank a few hits and then get the kill no matter what. These are the stats for her. So Seaside Bologna, okay, so this is where it gets a little bit complicated when it comes to gearing your DPS units, because you want her to hit really hard, and you don't want, and she's kind of like Lilius. You want her to either be really fast so that she can put the skill 3, unable to buff and unhealable on before they can, before their like Maid Chloe or their Deanne goes, so that they can block their let's see here. So so that you can block the buffs that she provides. So you want to either make her really fast or really slow and hit really hard, and that's what I decided to do. With my Seaside Bologna, I just wanted her to hit as hard as possible. It's okay if we go second, and that's mainly because if she's on defense and they go first, I can usually use my skill 2 to counter, and then use my skill 3 to kill. That's why a lot of Seaside Bologna defenses that are just like overwhelmingly strong win so often, because they use their counter first and then they use their skill 3. You see, so it's like she kind of alley oops herself. She defense breaks them, and then she just kills them with like 12 to 15k damage on the second turn. So, but like I said, gearing units, it depends a lot on what you want them to do. Like, let's see, like Dizzy for instance. I unfortunately don't have that violin artifact. I was an idiot and did not get it when it was around. But for Dizzy, I mean, all you really need for her is to be fast. Her skill 3 doesn't crit, period. Like, it always misses. So, no matter what, you want her to be, like, extremely fast so that she can go first and put those debuffs on. And especially if you do have the violin artifact, you can strip them and then, strip them and still land the debuffs. And with her, skill 2 having the decreased cooldown and then skill 1 stunning, you just want her to go as much as possible most of the time. There are instances where you can always, you can go with like a counter Dizzy. I see a lot of counter Dizzies that are a lot tankier than mine. So like 15 to 16k HP and still hitting, decently hard, but then whenever she gets hit, she counters and stuns. That's a pretty good Dizzy. But those are the only two that I could really see really working. But yeah, like, of course, speed. I put the hit set on just because I don't really need crit chance. It doesn't. All she does is debuff the enemy. She's not really, a hard hitter, glass cannon, or anything like that. Let's go to okay. So a Momo, she's really weird to gear. Just because you want her to be tanky, but you want her to be fast so she can, get her cleanses off fast, but you also want her to have a lot of effect resistance. But do remember that you get a lot of her effect resistance just from her skill tree. We get an added 25 effect resistance here, and then the added 15% there. So I mean, you're already starting off with a good amount of effect resistance. So it's not too hard to get her above 100, because you do want her to get above 100, because one of her skill trees says she gets more combat readiness when she uses her skill 2 if her effective resistance, sorry about that, is above 100%. So just make sure it's always above 100%. I'm trying to get it a little bit higher than that, but I'm doing pretty bad when it comes to like gear rolls currently. But yeah, I mean, just I would always just say like put like a speed set on her and keep the effective resistance around as much as you can. And yeah, I mean, that's her gear. I mean, it's not, I got a level 71 here. I mean, it's not the best. It's pretty good. It's really good, but it's not like something like completely impossible. So Charles is another tricky one. I usually try to keep him around 150 to 170 speed, just so that he can go faster than your DPS glass cannon, so that he can increase their attack, their attack percent, and then give himself the defense as soon as possible. So I usually keep him around there. Definitely want him to hit hard but be tanky at the same time. So that's why I went for like a speed and HP set. I just feel like, I feel like immunity set is really good on him too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, just so that he can guarantee that he gets the skill 3 up, and just so he isn't stun locked in that first turn, because a lot of it goes, by the first turn. A lot of the times you gear your units depending on what you want them to do on the first turn. Chloe is another unit that I use a lot. I mean, all you really need to do here is try to make her as tanky as possible and as fast as possible. She gets a lot of speed just from her skill tree. I don't remember where it is. I haven't done this in a while. Yeah, here it is. So she gets +4 there and +5 there. So she gets like another 9 speed. So I mean, she's pretty quick. Definitely want speed boots on her. and you know, like a speed set, so that she can get her skill 3 off as quick as possible, because her being able to dispel the buffs and provoke for 2 turns and defense break is really good. That's why I have her on my Guild War defense with Champions Urato and Seaside Bologna, so she can go first, debuff, and then well, you know, debuff at least one of the people on their team, because a lot of times people will bring a team at you because they know that they can beat you on the first turn. But if you can, you know, provoke them on that first turn and defense break them, then your other units can kind of just take everyone else out. I don't use Biken as much, but she's kind of really similar to like a lot of units. Like, here's the thing: the best Bikens are extremely fast. See, that's what I mean. But like, I don't really use mine that much. Like, she has good stats, she has good CP, but she's just not fast enough to do what I want her to do. Because a lot of times people will make their Vikings extremely fast, like maybe like 240 to 230 to 240 speed, and they'll go first, use their skill 2 to apply those bleeds, and of course she gets the crit off, and then use the skill 2 and blow up whoever they need to. And then if the skill 2 crit, I mean skill 3 crits here, it increases everyone's combat readiness. So she's really good on a speed, like really fast speed set. I just don't have the gear to give to her currently to make her the way I want to make her. So yeah, I'm gonna skip down because the other units here aren't really like PvP oriented, because this is more of like a PvP build video. Justina, I try to make her not too fast but not too slow. 175 speed is like that good spot, because like by then at least half of the enemy's team has already gone, and by then you know your team is already debuffed at a pretty good amount. So at that point you can use her skill 3 to cleanse everything that's on your team and then heal everybody up, and then you know the rest of your team's okay to do whatever they need to do afterwards. She's really good paired up with like Seaside and like I would say like Cartuja, or like a team like that, or like Heron. Like if you have Dark Corvus is pretty good, just because every turn she's healing a little bit depending on like the you know proportionate to the target's max health. So she's really good, really good for cleansing. Especially, and if you get the artifact, definitely get her skill 3 artifact, just because just being able to use the skill 3 more often is I would say is definitely worth it. I got really lucky. This was my first roll and I got max effective resistance and on skill 3, so I was extremely lucky. Faithless Lidica, man, she this is how she's still built the exact same way that she was before. I just don't know what I want to do with her. Obviously you want her to be, you know, extremely fast, because on turn 1 you want to debuff, you know, one of their buffs and then push up your team, you know, using her skill 2, and then use the skill 3 to increase the cooldown of like maybe like a Maid Chloe or a ML Justina, you know. I mean that's the thing. She's just really squishy. I mean, you could build her to be not as squishy, but it's just she just needs so much to be good, you know. So it's just she's just there. Maid Chloe is pretty oh, and I'll actually go back to Faithless Lidica. I actually like Song of Stars with her, just because her skill 3 and her skill 1 are both, you know, single targets, so she just has a little bit more of a debuffing on the team. Alright, so on to Maid Chloe. If you were, you know, lucky enough to get Maid Chloe, you know, during the last the Mystic Summons, she is, I wouldn't say hard to build, but she's hard to build well, you know, because she needs a lot of speed, because every time she goes, she you know, she heals herself and somebody with the lowest health, at the beginning of her turn, and that's even if she's stunned. So if she's stunned, she still gets the heal off, which is really, really cool. But I'd say like 190 to 210 if you can get her like with a speed, and just get her as tanky as possible. Just because you want her to go as much as possible so she can get her heals up, and you want her to go as fast as possible so that she doesn't get debuffed or stunned before she gets her skill 3 up. Because her skill 3 is basically where she shines, so that, if someone on your team dies, like your DPS, or like your tank or some, anyone who dies, she can bring them right back to life. Your gear, I mean, you want her to be as tanky as possible. I mean, I got pretty lucky on some of these rolls, but I mean, look at this. Like, this is terrible. Like, sure, we got this, the 65% health, but effective resistance 12, that's cool, but like, that's a okay amount of health. Like, speed is low, and attack, like, why is attack on there? This one's a little bit better. Got a lot of speed there, and effective resistance. She's only got level 67 boots here. So I mean, she could even be faster, like 207. So it just, it all depends on the gear that you get, like, and it depends on what you want them to do on the first turn and how efficient you want to be. Like, maybe Chloe, you want her to get that buff up as soon as possible, so you might even get someone to push her forward, like someone really fast to push her forward so that she can get it up faster. Like Rosette or Faithless Lidica, Shuri, someone, anyone like that. I don't really have my Ravi's just kind of built to do Wyvern. That's not a really good Ravi to be honest. I mean, you can do a lot better. I mean, she's tanky and she takes the Wyvern hits, and that's all. Cartuja, I used to use him a lot. He's a very, 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 very good unit. You definitely want him to be very fast. Well, very tanky. And speed doesn't really matter too much, but you definitely want him to be decently fast so that he can get his skill 3 off as much as possible. I did put a lot of Molagora in him for me not to use him as much, but I mainly only used him before I got Dark Corvus. And I really like Junkyard Dog on him, because his skill that gives the skill 1 the ability to bleed and to burn, which is really nice because that's just a lot of like continuous damage over time. Like you can get the bleed, you can get the burn, and then every turn they're just dying a little bit quicker, and this is good for those like really tanky teams. If you did get lucky enough to get Dark Corvus, you definitely just, all you really want for him is to be extreme, like to have the most amount of health that you can get on a unit. So wherever you can get like extra health, like health percent, but then if you can get like extra health somewhere. I don't think I really got any extra health. Well, I did get really lucky on this one. Got a 34% health percent, and 17. So you just need HP. I think that's all you really need, to be honest. I mean, just give him as much HP as possible. I put him on Truth of Valor just because I feel like you just want him to stay alive. Like literally, like if you do get him, like in Guild Wars, for example, all you need to do to win is keep him alive. If you can keep him alive, he can get his skill 3 off and basically kill whatever he wants, because it's his skill 3 does damage proportional to his HP. You see, and he also recovers health proportionate to his HP as well. Proportionate to the the amount of damage dealt. So with him, that's all you just need him to be really hit really hard. I luckily still got him at 30k on a speed set. If you can do that, I would, just so that he can get his skill 1s off as fast as possible and not be stun locked, so he can do his skill 3. With a skill 1, that provoke is really good, so that they can hit him and activate a skill 2, which decreases the skill his skill cooldown by 1 or 2 if it's a crit. Um, Martial Artist Ken, like I said, I showed you guys him before. You know, these are his stats. So with Martial Artist Ken, all you really need to do is make him hit hard. You know, like you don't need. Well, yeah, you also need him to be a little bit tanky as well, so that he doesn't just die. But you want him to hit extremely hard. You do not need to worry about speed. He does not need to be fast. There's no reason for him to be fast, because if he gets hit, there's already a 30% chance of him counterattacking and a 100% chance if he gets hit with a crit. And when he does counterattack, he always crits. So I would never run MLK with a 100% crit chance. To be honest, 80% is too much. I mean, it's good that I have that much, so that, you know, when he uses a skill 1 and a skill 3, he can, you know, crit. But you don't need it to be at max, you know, like if he gets hit, he's already, like with a crit, he's already going to crit them no matter what. So yeah, like he doesn't need to be fast at all. Like 120 to 130 speed is like fine. You know, like give him like a, you know, some speed substats, you know, like if you get, you know, get a little bit of speed here. Yeah, here's the actual, you know, the 11 speed there. Like that's all I needed. Yeah, and so and get a lot of HP substats. I just went for all like damage here. But if you can get some HP substats, you know, I got really lucky here. If you can get like, you know, like HP with flat HP there, 16. So if you can get HP substats on him while keeping him hitting really hard, that's basically the key to having a perfect MLK. Sadly, don't use her. She's just geared so that I can do the world boss. She's not geared. Champions Urato, I've showed you guys him multiple times. The reason why I feel like he's best on a vampire set, or sorry, lifesteal set, is because his skill 1 always hits 2 people no matter what. So it hits 2 people, and it already has an innate healing. So as you see here, you know, recover the caster's HP, the caster's health when he hits. So with that being said, whenever he gets hit while he is debuffed, he will hit 2 people on their team, which means that he will heal for more because he's hitting 2 people, not 1. So instead of doing like 3,000 damage to 1 person, which, you know, 25% of, you know, no, 20% of 3,000 isn't very, I mean, that's like 800 damage. He's hitting 2 people, so that's like, you know, 1,600 damage plus the innate healing of the, you know, the innate healing of the skill 1. So I feel like just because of that, and because of the fact that his skill 3 now has the increased defense, I feel like that makes the most sense, so that he can stay, like, as long as he goes, you know, like, as long as he's moderately fast, he, you know, you get him a little bit tanky. I mean, I wouldn't even consider that tanky, to be honest. I mean, that's like the same amount of, you know, health and defense that a lot of, like, some of my like damage deal, like Luna, you know, has, even less than Luna actually. So he's not really tanky, but it's just, make sure if you're bringing Champions Urato that you are also bringing somebody who has Aureus, so that they can tank his hits. Either that, or you have like an ML, you know, the ML Chloe, and then you can get the heal, or the revive as well. We're gonna skip down because I do not have. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's actually everybody. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's basically how I gear my units. I basically just look at what they can do, like Charles, of course, give him the Alberus's sword, so that he can counterattack and then, you know, go skill 1 until skill 2. I mean, everyone knows about that. Dizzy, you want her to be fast. Seaside, you want her... Oh, a big tip, PS statement. I use Bloodstone on my Seaside, and that is mainly because of the fact that it actually gives your team a little bit more sustain. It you know, like with it being a plus 27, you get basically 25%, you know, healing on whenever she does damage onto your lowest ally. So I feel like that's really, really strong, just because, you know, she counterattacks. You know, she has her skill 3 that hits everybody. So with her hitting everybody so often, you know, you can heal your damage dealers, you can heal your soul weaver, your tanks for about, you know, 2,000 to 3,000 on counterattacks. You know, and that's just, you know, that's if they're not even defense broken. So with her being able to heal that much on such a offensive set, I feel like that's really, really worth it. Obviously the drink is really good too. I could put that on there. I only have one though, so if I did get this to max, it would only be at 75%, and I just don't feel like 75% is reliable enough for me. But yeah, I mean, that's basically how I build my units. It just kind of just depends on what they do, you know. So if you want your tanks to be tanky, be tanky, but also look at their abilities. What do they do? Where would they be best at? You know, do you want them to be fast and tanky so that they can cleanse, or they can, you know, put their buffs up faster, or do you want them to just be really, you know, really strong but slow, or you want them to hit hard but really fast as well? It just all depends on their abilities. It depends on what they can do, how they benefit your team, and what their roles are for your team compositions. But yeah, I'll just go over what. Let me see. I'll just go over like the sets I think that are ideal for most units. Most attackers are going to be attack and crit damage unless you need them to be fast. Tanks, I would usually go speed and immunity, or speed and HP set, just so that they can be fast and you know, and tank a lot. For soul weavers, I usually go speed. It depends on what you want them to do though, and you know, angelic montmorency, speed and resist, just to get that extra resistance, or you know, speed and effectiveness. So a lot of effectiveness, even though she has the defense here. All depends on what you need them to do. Just really think about what the unit can do for your team, like why you want them to be tanky, why you want them to be fast. And I feel like that will definitely help out a lot more in your arena comps and your you know, your guild wars, and also in PvE, you know, just keeping your units tanky, fast, and just figuring out what you want them to do for your team. I feel like that's the main key to building a strong team in Epic 7. And yeah, from there, just kind of course, grind your hunts and do your automation tower. Try to get your abyss cleared as fast as possible. I might do a level 90 abyss clear guide, just for, you know, just so people can learn how to do the level 90. The level 90 is really hard, but here's a hint: if you just use Tam Tam, Angelic Montmorency, Luna, and Dizzy, and they're just pretty well geared, you should be fine. It's not that hard. It's just that last part is pretty hard to do. But yeah, that's basically how I, you know, build my units. Just take time, just look at what they can do. Just spend some time with them. Switch gear when there's times where there is free gear removal, which I think is currently going on right now. Just build, you know, just move some pieces around. Yeah, I think it's, yeah, so it's free guild removal currently. So yeah, just move some stuff around, see what you can do. Yeah, to see what you can do with what sets, and yeah, just test it out in PvE, test it out in PvP, arena, guild war. Just do a lot of testing. That's what I do. But yeah, that's basically the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, or you found this helpful at all, you know, leave a like, comment. Comment definitely in the comment section if you have any questions. If you want me to go a little bit more into detail about like which like percentages or which like roles you want to go for with certain units or certain gear pieces, or like any like what what unit is best on what set or anything like that, just let me know. I'll definitely try to make another more advanced equipment build video in the future. But for now, I just kind of wanted to go over the basics, just because a lot of people seem to be struggling with building their units. So hopefully this helped. Yeah, like I said, like the video if you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.